Topics. Each Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m., we'll take a closer look at the biggest stories in sports from across the country and right here in our valley. Today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. My name is Justin Coffin, and our show is produced by Joe Danier, founder of Youngstown Studios. We're going to have a great guest on here in a little bit. You'll recognize her from commercials, being a former anchor, and now she owns a marketing company. Lauren Lindvig will join us in just a little bit. So we're going to bring her on in a couple minutes. Before we do that, first of all, if you do have any questions for Lauren or myself about sports, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines will be open, 330-595-1600. That's 595 1600. You can also leave a message in the comments section on Facebook if you'd like to talk sports or have any questions for Lauren. Before we bring her on, we're going to do a little Tuesday around the horn. So we're going to go over like the biggest takeaways from the NFL in week one. We have the NBA Eastern Conference Finals kicking off tonight, the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. Boston is a 1.5 point favorite. So that series is going to get going tonight. Jimmy Butler has kind of dominated the last few games for Miami. Marcus Smart will probably be on him. So that should be a great matchup going into it tonight. And tonight we also have a game 7 in the Western Conference. We have the number 2 seeded Clippers at the number 3 Denver Nuggets. The winner will take on the Lakers. The Clippers tonight are a 7-point favorite, but have blown basically the last 2 games to let the Nuggets right back in it. Real interesting fact I heard the other day, the Denver Nuggets have played 4 playoff series in the past 2 seasons, and all 4 of those have gone to game 7, which is pretty rare and interesting in the NBA world. And on Thursday's show, we're going to see what happens, and we're going to talk, what a win or a loss would do for the Clippers going forward. Little bit of breaking news before as I was heading in. I got a text, and it said there was a hot mic at a Nebraska press conference, and it was the Nebraska president, and he basically said, we're going to make some sort of announcement tonight, which the way he said it sort of seemed positive. So I'm really hoping for Big Ten football getting announced going forward. And they better do it soon, because they're just dragging themselves through the mud, and they're probably going to have to hire Lauren's firm to help bring them back here soon, because their PR has not been good over the last month. With that happening over the past week, the Buckeyes have lost 2 of their top players. Shaun Wade, who's expected to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, has opted out for this season, and Wyatt Davis, who is an offensive lineman, has also opted out. They're both expected to be first-round picks. So again, we're not exactly sure why this is taking so long, but it sounds like they're really, really making sure the health protocols are in place before they go forward. But I'm very optimistic with this latest news. An NHL note, the Dallas Stars are headed to the Stanley Cup Finals. This is the first time in 20 years, and they're going to take on the winner of Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders. Tampa Bay has a 3-1 series lead in that series. Couple Major League Baseball news and notes, and we'll get to the NFL before we bring our guest on. So in Major League Baseball, basically the Pacific Northwest, with what's going on with the wildfires in California, it has been a nightmare out there. One of the Oakland A's pitchers, who's only 22 years old, came off the field the other day and just basically was gasping for air, which is if you've seen any of those scenes, it looks like it's right out of a movie. It's incredible. So that might affect games going forward. Switching to another mess, the Cleveland Indians. Last Tuesday, they were sitting in first place, and they've dropped their last 6 games in a row. So they have dropped down to 3rd place. They're just barely hanging on to a playoff spot, and they're taking on the Chicago Cubs tonight in a 2-game series. And the Cubs are sitting at first place in their division. We also had a no-hitter which again was the Chicago Cubs. Alec Mills, who was a former college walk-on, threw a no-hitter this past weekend. So again, like I said, the Indians and Cubs are playing a 2-game series starting tonight. That's a big series for especially the Indians in that game. And going back to last week, we're just going to talk about football here real quick. Last week we had Joe Schiavone on Thursday, and him and I made our football picks, and Joe got me by a game. He went 9-6-1 this weekend, and I went 8-7-1. So we're both over 500, so not bad. So we'll see how we do going forward on Thursday. We're going to pick some more games. Okay, so last sports topic I want to really get into before our guest is the NFL. Everyone was crazy about the NFL coming back. We're so excited. It's back in our, COVID lives right now, but tends to be the Monday or Tuesday after the first week. There's so much overreaction. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with the NFL. So let's start with the good. Kansas City Chiefs kicked off on Thursday night. Great game. They won as expected. Their rookie running back from LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, ran all over Houston, did a great job. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens beat up on my Browns as expected. Baltimore just looks like the dominant team like they were from last year. And Kansas City and Baltimore are probably the two favorites, not just in the AFC, but in the NFL. Russell Wilson, just a fantastic game for the Seahawks. The Jaguars, who could possibly be the worst team in the NFL this year, got the win. Big win for them. Cam Newton looked good in New England. The Washington football team, no longer the Redskins anymore, so the Washington football team got the win. They are also expected to be sort of a cellar dweller, a bottom tier football team. Also got the win this weekend. The Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins wide receiver quarterback experiment seems to be working well. They had DeAndre Hopkins had 14 receptions on his own against the 49ers to win that game. And Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they look great this weekend. And as a Browns fan, it's tough for me to admit this, but the Steelers defense last night looked good as well. I tend to obviously root against the Steelers, but I will give credit where credit's due. They looked good last night. The bad. So both New York football teams, the Giants and the Jets, they just stink. They're terrible. I got to put them down in the bottom 5 of all the NFL. They both really looked bad this weekend. The Cowboys are one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. They did not look good this weekend. The Eagles, they look terrible. Tom Brady's first start with Tampa did not do well. And I'm gonna say this: kickers from Ohio. So obviously we know what happened with the Browns. Missed the extra point, missed a field goal. And the Browns cut their kicker, re-signed a former kicker, and the Bengals had a chance to tie the game in Joe Burrow's first start. Their kicker also missed a game-tying field goal as time expired. So that was the bad. So we've gone over the good, the bad, and let's go over the ugly. As much as I hate to say it, Odell Beckham's effort is just awful. And as a Browns fan, I need to see more production. I'm seeing a ton of flash. You see him on commercials, you see him make the one-handed catches, but he can't catch a pass that a 5-year-old could make over the middle with no one near him for on a 3rd and 2. Baker Mayfield is just not progressing as we had hoped from year one. He had a great rookie year, and the last season plus this game, so far he's got to step up. The Colts did not look good. And my final ugly of the NFL week 1 was Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, an Ohio State Buckeye, New Orleans Saints wide receiver, had only 3 receptions in game 1. He had 150 last season. And the Saints' decision to keep him in garbage time probably cost them going forward, as he has a high ankle sprain, which, you know, as a coach, I know that can cause a player to miss 2, 3, 4 weeks or more. So he's going to be week to week or even day to day. So those are our sports headlines. I'm going to bring on our guest here in a minute, but before we do that, we're going to throw it to an ad from our sponsor, Coca's Pizza. Take a look. You're on next.
Oh, okay then. I knew a couple.
Welcome back. I'm going to intro our guest. You probably have seen her around, especially if you are from the Youngstown area. Lauren Lindvig. Welcome,
hey,
Lauren.
Justin, nice to see you.
Nice to see
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Absolutely.
This is fun.
Yeah, thank you
for. A little weird for me to be sitting on this side of stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You're the one asking the questions most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. Congratulations on your show, you and Joe, and the studio. You know, we're big fans, and it's nice to have you guys down here.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, and congratulations goes out to you. You just got engaged.
I did. My fiance Fred is sitting over there. We obviously,
Welcome, Fred.
I was gonna say we work together and live together. We've figured out how to make life